Welcome to this latest episode of the MPFT Podcast. Talking about our mental health can be uncomfortable and challenging, so we're really pleased for this edition to be joined by Logan, a young person who has been keen to share his ongoing story of recovery. Logan spoke about his mental health difficulties and the support he's received from the Trust, in particular through our Transitional Care Team, which helps young people with their transition from child and adolescent mental health services, or CAMHS, to adult mental health services. It's an inspiring and brave story, and we are grateful to Logan for agreeing to join us. My name is Mark Fletcher from MPFT's communications team, and let's get on with the chat. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you for joining us, Logan. I appreciate being here. Is probably not the easiest thing to be doing, and I really appreciate you, the fact you're here. But could you just talk about why you are here today and kind of why you wanted to tell us your story?
Basically because I want to support young people and show them that actually there is help out there, and as long as you get the right help, then you can feel like you've hit rock bottom, but you can bounce back and make a life for yourself.
We'll expand on that a little bit if that's okay. So do you mind just talking a bit about the mental health problems that you were experiencing, and sort of then talk about the point where you realised you needed some help for those problems?
I've experienced quite a lot. I'd say probably where it started to go downhill was when I started to get bullied about 10 years ago.
And how old are you, Logan? If you're
20.
20, okay.
And that made me feel like I was completely worthless. People didn't want to be around me, and I didn't feel like I wanted to be here because I thought, well, everybody else is just getting on with it. I'm just here in the background, just making other people's lives a misery. So, why should I keep doing this? So I became quite depressed. I became very anxious. My OCD came out of absolutely nowhere and really affected my life to the point where I couldn't go out. I couldn't do anything because I was just really scared of the world. And it just got to the point where I just didn't want to be here. So I tried many times to not. And I thought at this point, the point where I realised I needed help was I just thought, why am I living like this? I've got to get better. And so I did. I reached out for help, and it's taken a while, but I'm now on the up. So. And
the point that point when you realised you needed that help, did you know where to go? Did you know what to do? Can you talk a little bit about how at that moment, kind of what you then did next?
Yeah, there wasn't, especially when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of talk around it. It was kind of the case of you don't talk about it because it's you're a burden. You're just putting it on other people. That's not fair. Everyone's got their own stuff to deal with. Yeah. And so I kept it to myself. But actually, when I got researching and thought there is help out there, we went to the doctors and got referred to many, many different people who have effectively really helped. So. Right.
Did you look online, or did you sort of do that first, or did you sort of then speak to your parents about, or did you sort of have a conversation with friends, or you mentioned about going to your GP?
Yes. Went to my GP. That was one of the first things we did. Okay. But I think the very first thing I did was definitely reach out to friends because they were the ones who understood it the most. Yeah. And then I told my parents, and they were obviously just shocked and worried and everything else. Of course. Yeah. But really, when it came to friends, they were just like, you need help. We can support you as much as we can. But especially when I went to university as well, they were on the end of a phone. I was 400 miles away from them. So
right.
It wasn't like we could just meet up all the time. So I felt quite isolated.
And was this at university?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when it really went bad. And of course they were worried. But again, I was thinking in the back of my head, I should not be doing this. I should not even be telling them because now they're going to worry. And that felt like a little bit selfish almost. But
at the point you went to seek help,
yeah,
did that feel like a weight lifted, or did you feel like it was a worry? I imagine there's still a little bit of worry about what's next. But I suppose it's that they often say half the battle is accepting you have an issue, that you need, and then it's then taking that step to actually seek help for that issue, which is incredibly brave.
It is.
And so do you mind just talking through about sort of the that stage of it a little bit more as well, about sort of because I appreciate there'll be people maybe watching this, listening to this, who are exactly the same place that you were at that point.
Yes.
And they are there now, and so about where they can potentially get that help from, and to know that there's always somebody you can talk to.
There is always someone you can talk to, even if it's just, ringing up a friend and just saying, can we just have a chat? It can be as simple as that. You don't have to go down the medical route, but I think that's probably where you're going to get the most help, and it's really important.
Yeah. So after speaking to your GP, then you started to be supported by CAMHS services, and so, but I also know as well as CAMHS that you're supported by MPFT's Transitional Care Team, and which is a relatively new team, and we've done another podcast on that team, which I'll sort of signpost listeners and viewers to. So could you talk about that experience, about how that's helped you? Can you talk about the process what's happened for you in terms of being able to get that support?
I mean, being referred to the Transitional Care Team was probably the best thing that's ever happened, because it's away from, we haven't done it in a clinical setting. It hasn't been in a hospital or GP surgery. So just being able to go out into the community and just have a chat about literally anything has been an absolute blessing, because, especially finding someone who's got so much in common, being able to talk to them about literally anything, and just having someone there to listen has been really beneficial.
And so, and you mentioned about seeking that support and getting that help outside of a clinical setting. So I appreciate it's not one size fits all for everybody, but for you, being able to have that conversation. So could you, where were some of those conversations taking place, and kind of how were those conversations helping you?
Really just having a chat about anything, and just somehow that got my brain back into thinking something other than the dark side. And especially talking about trips that I've gone on, or things I've done at university, or just like things I used to do at school, just being able to talk about it and reflect on the good stuff that I've done is, and for someone to listen and go, that's really good, has been really uplifting.
And were you provided any tools to I appreciate the chat is a tool in and of itself.
In itself, yeah.
But it's through those conversations, were you sort of then given some advice about maybe think about doing this, maybe think about doing that, or was it sort of just for yourself entirely conversational based?
It was pretty much conversational based. Of course, you get the usual, techniques on how to cope. Say you're having a meltdown or whatever.
Sure.
Things that you can do, but really it was just having that chat.
And over what period of time have those conversations been sort of had, from sort of that moment where you started chatting to? Because I appreciate these are not 5-minute fixes.
No. Really the last few months, I'd say. The last few months have been absolutely crucial in my life, and it's, my struggles have gone on for absolutely years, but actually the last few months have been the most helpful. Where
would you say you are now? Kind of what place are you in now?
Certainly better than I was. I'm actually back sort of in the community doing things and wanting to get back out there and do something, not just for myself, but for other people as well. And looking at maybe going back to university or college or just anything where actually I can progress on to the next stage of my life.
And I suppose it's important to say as well that because you talked about support, and I appreciate this is professional support, but there's also support of friends, family. For yourself, as having those conversations with somebody who you don't know, and having that, within the Transitional Care Team, to be able to have that chat. Yeah. Alongside that, the support of your family, your friends, how important has that been alongside the conversations you've been having? Massive, yeah. Because if I didn't have their support, I'd be absolutely nothing. Especially, coming out as well. That's kind of been hard on them because it was a shock, but even like telling my grandparents, I never thought that they get it, but as soon as I told them, they were just like, okay, cool, so yeah, if they weren't accepting of the whole thing, obviously, as I said, they were just concerned, they just want what's best for me, but yeah, absolutely. But if they weren't supportive, then I don't know where I'd be. So what's next for you? The future is completely within my making, really. Who knows?
I'm really hoping to carry on my path on to being a marine biologist, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, I'm sure I speak for everybody who's watching this, who's involved in the Transitional Care Team, and anybody else that they wish the absolute best for you, and that your recovery continues, and you continue to build on that. You sort of learn from everything the conversations you've had with the staff, but also alongside your parents and friends, etc. And so, on behalf of everybody, I just want to say thank you for joining us. I know it's not easy to come up and have this conversation, so I really appreciate you doing that. It's really brave, braver than I'd probably be, to be honest with you. So, but thank you for your time, Logan. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Massive thanks to Logan for sharing his story today. We recorded a separate podcast focusing on the work of our Transitional Care Team, and you can find the link to that episode in the show notes. You can watch the MPFT podcast by going to our YouTube channel. Check out the show notes for this link. If you prefer to listen, then please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts by searching for the MPFT podcast, where you'll find all our episodes. Thanks also to you for being with us for this episode. Join us again next time.